Hey, what's up everybody? 3D Theory here. Today is September 5th, 2024, and it is 7:18 a.m. and this is vlog number 51. I am very happy to say that all of the 3D prints for the Stealth TV tray are pretty much finished. So I'm excited to say that we're going to assemble it all today, and I don't mean to rhyme in any way. Before we get to building all that out, I do have a couple of videos from yesterday taking the table off the build plates, and I just want to show you how it came off and what the results were. And they were printed out down at the bottom there, and I do have to say that I took off the supports for the dovetails and those areas there. You'll see what that's about. There was no real answer to it, but yeah, you'll check it out in the video. I cleaned up all the support materials for this already, but I'll go over all that for the assembly just in case you guys want to build this too. I'll see you back after that video. Alright guys, so the screws finished on here, and if I do say so myself, they are looking absolutely perfect. And that was the tall one, and here is the small one. Now I'm going to get the other print started. Alright guys, so we have both halves of the top part of the Stealth TV tray finished up, and we're going to take these out. I'm going to have to probably take it off with the build plate. There you go. That's looking real sweet. Wow. What a smooth, clean looking print. We got our little notches there. Really happy with this result. And that nice storage compartment too. That's looking fantastic. I'm just taking it out nice and easy. There you go. Very cool. Oh no, there's a part here that printed out very roughly. That is curious. I don't know why that happened. Doesn't seem to be anywhere on the build plate, but nonetheless, it's on the bottom. So I think I'm fine with that for now. But, you know, obviously we wouldn't like that to happen very often. We have areas where it's kind of thin, and I was expecting that. And there's areas where this meets up here that's also very thin. But nonetheless, this is looking great. Let me give this a test try. Oh yeah, guys, I'm really excited, and it's very light, but solid as well. If I were to bend it, ever so slight bends, but man, does that look sleek. We got the tree supports in the dovetail section, and I can't wait to put this together. Honestly, I'm so excited for this. Let's go ahead and take this one out now. All right, now this is ready to go. I'm gonna take the build plate off. That is also looking real good. This build plate's a little hotter to the point where it hurts my fingers a little bit. But let's see if we can get this off here. How's that looking? That is looking great. You can you can see the plate that I usually print out, the ghost image of it right there. That is actually really funny. But I could always use the flip side of this build plate. But man, that is looking so clean. I cannot wait to put this thing together. I'm gonna hold myself back until we have all the parts that are ready, and just to kind of give you a glimpse, man, that's gonna be sweet. I cannot wait. All right guys, I'm gonna get these build plates cleaned up and start the next print. As you can tell, this black filament from that same company I get it from is producing that beautiful result that I get with the gray filament for the plates and latches. And by the way, for those of you who are new to this channel, this is my tiny 3D print farm of 5 Bambu Lab A1 3D printers that I use for production of plates and latches. So here's the left latch, right latch. Let me see if I can pull one out. They look really nice. That's the right latch, left plate, right plate, and these attach to a larger product that I don't really talk about because it's not 3D printed, and this channel is focused on 3D printing. And for the Bambu Lab A1 with AMS Light combo, I used near empty spools of filament, ones that couldn't finish an entire latch or plate on their own, and they get so low where they can't do it on their own, and I end up bringing it over here and activate the auto refill system by putting in the software that all 4 of these slots are PETG and gray. And so when one finishes out during the middle of a print, it'll just switch over to the next spool and finish off the print, which is absolutely wonderful. I do have 3 Creality printers. I have the CR6 Max over here. I have an Ender 3 V2 Neo down there, and a Creality CR10 Smart right here. and those were good for a time. And I used to actually use CR10 SEs for my production here of these parts for a short period of time, maybe a month or two. And then I realized that I didn't want to babysit them anymore. And so I pulled the trigger, I think 3 days before the sale ended for these guys. There was a big Bambu Lab sale going on, and I bought them, and it was probably the best decision I've ever made in this 3D print room for production of these parts. But nonetheless, we have a bunch of 3D prints here that are available for my Maker World for free. We got Lightyear laser blade, all these cool little prints. You can go ahead and check them out. It's linked in the description. And this is a Stealth French side table, and it's in the same sort of style, the geometric stealth style, that the Stealth TV tray also has. So you can say they're in the same line. By the way, the temperature in the 3D print room is 80.1 degrees Fahrenheit, and there's a 51% humidity level in here. Yesterday, I should tell you that it did actually reach 102 degrees in this room, and here in Southern California, it's actually going to reach 111 today. At least that's what's reported online for the weather. And I honestly thought I was looking at a mistake or something. When I saw that it was 111, I had to do a double take. Really, 111 degrees here in Southern California is unheard of. But I'm glad I'm here in the morning where it's a lot cooler. We could put together this awesome Stealth side table. And before it gets too hot, let's get this cool Stealth TV tray built out. Very cool. By the way, I did want to mention that this is going to go on my Maker World for free download, so you guys can join along. And if you guys are interested, this has been a long series, so I'm gonna do a compilation video and put all these Stealth TV tray videos together as one. So there will be a longer format where you can just watch the entire process from beginning to end. But nonetheless, let's jump into this. I had to make me a nice strong cup of coffee this morning, but it's nice. All right guys, first things first is I'm gonna take these off. See how easily they come off the build plates. That was fairly easy, very nice. All right, as well as that one, very cool. And likewise, we got these here. Yeah, that came out real nice. Okay, and last but definitely not least, the lid. All right, and we do have our little notch there for that little locking mechanism, that speed bump we made. This is gonna be sweet. And all right guys, let's not forget the main build plate here. Very cool. Oh my gosh. If you guys could feel how this feels, it's just so nice. I know I say that a lot, but I really love PETG filament, especially after working with Bambu Lab A1 printers. They really just made printing with PETG so much easier, and it really just looks so nice. Super cool. All right, here's the leg that we have for this one. Printed out great, very nice. And here's that center bar that didn't print out last time. Printed out great this time. Very cool. I say center bar, but the under table hexagonal bar. Here's the center bar. Let me actually loosen it up like this. These are all the dowels, by the way. There's 3, and then the 4th one's right there. And we have the under table bars. Wonderful. This one's gonna take a little bit of cleanup, but should be pretty easy. Cool. All right guys, so I don't know what happened. I had pressed record, but something happened. But I took off the supports off of here. It was real easy. We're just going through and cleaning up all the support material and putting aside whatever is already ready. So I could say those are ready. This is ready. These are also ready. I'm just gonna put them over here. And all that's left are these leg pieces to clean out the support material in there for the dowel. Oh, by the way, here's that center bar down below. And most of these are not clean. There you go. So yeah, we're just gonna have to do some work on cleaning up the legs here. And I just finished doing this one, so we'll move on to the other ones. A little bit of a tree support. All the legs are gonna have that tree support on the inside because of that dowel. And I'm just going in with the flathead screwdriver, and I'm pushing it in and kind of breaking off those tree supports now for the top. All right, there you go. Some of that came out pretty easy. And let's see if there's anything left inside. Yep, there seems to be some left inside. And I'm just kind of going in and pulling out like that. And it seems to be working. All right, that about does it for the tree supports in here. I just kind of put it at an angle where I can see light shine in there, and I can make out that there's no more supports in there. So I just take out that front piece once again, and sometimes the top is loosened up like that. I don't know if you guys can see it clearly, but the top part of the tree supports is loosened up. Wow, all that came out. Very nice. That was actually the easiest one. Let's see if we can make it. Let's see if we could just come up with a way of doing it so that it's pretty easy. And again, this top part comes out pretty well. I noticed with these tree supports that they end up having this top little flat part. This was for this piece here. So if you can manage to get your flat head up top there, it comes out pretty easy, like you see here. All right, that cleaned out as well. And since you guys kind of got the hang of it, I think I'm just going to do this off camera, but some of them have this support down at the bottom, and it usually comes off pretty easy. And let's see if I can just take it off with maybe some snippers, because that one came off easy, but yeah, it comes off fairly simple. And like I said, it has that little flat part there, so that really helps take it off. Alright guys, so we got all those legs finished up. Now comes the most difficult part. This is cleaned up as well, so we could put this aside. But the most difficult part is cleaning up these tree supports that are in here. As you can tell, there's a lot of them. However, as I've mentioned, if you could somehow get that top layer to come off first, or loosen it up a bit, it really helps. And maybe even breaking these tree supports first as well. But I'm going to give it a try here and kind of give you the best method of cleaning those out. And they're on both sides. So I'm going to set up a soft base over here with this bubble wrap, because I am going to try to get at it with a hammer a little bit. Let's see if this method will work. So I'm kind of holding it up against me there, and I don't want to be so harsh with it where it makes this piece bend up. So I got to be very careful. Now I was using this in the past, so I'm going to give this a try again. So I'm kind of going in at the bottom there, if you guys can see that, and I'm just pushing forward, and see how that's raising up. We want to be very careful not to do that too far down the line. And there is no break there like last time, so that's good. I'm going to go in and try to pull some of this out with my needle nose pliers here. See how that top part comes out? That's what we like to see. You got the tree supports on the bottom with that top part there. Alright, this has probably been the best tool for me. I'm going to try to go up top there, but remember to be very careful with that so it doesn't bend too much. I think we're doing it, guys. Now with that, let's see if I can just use these to pull them out to the left. As you see, it's coming out. After about a few tries with this, I think I got a little better at it. How about with this small little flathead? Didn't have enough leverage there. How about this bigger flathead? Alright, got a little bit more out there. Yeah, I think this is working. So with the flathead, we can just kind of push up and pull this way. And it comes out a little bit at a time, but nonetheless, it comes out. And I feel like it's the safest way that I've done it so far. I feel like this thing wants to come out all in one go, but we'll take it easy and go slow. I already kind of nicked myself earlier. I think I was using these needle nose just maybe like a minute ago, and it's kind of important that we see that top part come out and not just the tree supports, because we want to make sure the tolerance is accommodating for that lid. But we're actually making the fastest progress I've ever made with this here. There you go. I got filament flying everywhere, guys. So make sure you do this in an area where you don't want filament flying, especially if you got an open cup of coffee nearby, which I safely put mine in a different room. Alright guys, we got one side completely cleared out. That's looking totally good. Very nice. And I think you got the gist of it. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the other side off camera, and I'll see you when I finish up with that. And I did want to mention that there might be some strings here or whatnot, so I just went in like this and kind of straightened that out. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but our little speed bump is right there at the corner of my blade. Very nice. Alright guys, so I finally got this cleaned out, and it is slow going, so just keep that in mind. It's definitely a slow going process. And I think we're ready to give that lid a try. All right, let's do this. Yep, that's in there, and that ain't going nowhere. And it's definitely locked into place. Let's see how hard this is going to be to take out. There you have it. Now, if we want to make this easier so that it's not such a hard time taking in and out, which I can see that this will get stuck over time, and it seems to have gotten stuck here, and I kind of scraped it there, but let's see if I can just turn these like that. Yeah, so one way to fix that, sand these sides down a little bit so it's not sticky. I know there's a little bit of stickiness to this. For example, with our test, we did sand it down a bit, and it did make it smoother, and this will go in just fine. As a matter of fact, we may not even need that little notch, but it's there, and because that speed bump there does its job. And as you can tell, when it's sanded down, it holds up perfectly. So I think I am going to sand this just a little bit so it's a little easier. It goes in and out just fine, but when these rub enough, it's going to be kind of hard to open up and close. But honestly, now that I'm doing it over and over again, the technique to open this is use both of your thumbs to kind of push from the front and the back, and it opens. With that being said, I think I'll leave it. I won't sand it. So I'm just going to pop this back in. Very nice. Wow. I thought I'd need to do some more work on that, but this is looking real slick. Now we're ready to put these two table pieces together. One of the most exciting parts for me is this part. So we got our dovetails, and by the way, this is going to have a little bit of a support material as well as here and here. You're going to have to take that out. Should be very easy. Likewise with this part, that part, and that part. And there will be some tree supports in each of these holes. So I'm going to go ahead and put this thing together. Let's line it up. And the goal with this is that we don't have to use any sort of glue. And it's nearly there, as you guys can see, with just pushing it with my fingers. We are almost there, guys. Let's see if I can kind of make it go in even more with this hammer. Ever so slightly. We're nearly there. So close. Just ever so slightly off. Okay. And notice how I have this bubble wrap here. And I just want to say to be very gentle when hammering that in. Everything is looking pretty sweet. There's just a little bit of a step there. So I'm going to try to work it a little bit more because I do feel that these ends here, they're not fully in. Alright guys, so I think I got it as close as I'm going to get it. And that's looking good to me. Very cool. There's a little bit of a gap there, but it's going to be sealed up. Wow, this is coming together, guys. So I think the next part we can do is put these on, which go just like that, the long and the short part. So the hole is on the side of the tablet slot holder. We're just gonna have to glue this in. Alright guys, so I thought I had some epoxy adhesive on hand, but I don't. So I'm gonna make a quick run to the store and pick some up so we can finish this stealth TV tray. Alright guys, so I'm back from Harbor Freight, and I got this for $3.49. That's without tax and all that, but it's great. It's an instant setting epoxy adhesive, sets in 90 seconds, holds up to 2,000 pounds per square inch. It does metal, glass, ceramic, plastic, rubber, and wood. So, I obviously got my protective gear on. This stuff says to take off the cap, mix it, and get it ready to apply. And then when you're done, to put back the cap. So it sets in 90 seconds and the item could be handled within 30 minutes. So let's get this show on the road. So here's that little tip that they're talking about. Now that we have this ready to go, I'm gonna just bring this over to the side and have it ready to place. And I'm just gonna mix it in right there. Actually, I almost forgot that we should probably make the parts that are sticking to each other not so smooth. So I'm just going to run this with 150 grit sandpaper until that shiny sheen is off of there and it exposes the material. And again, I only need to do this a little bit, not too much, and I'm happy with that amount there. I'm going to do the same for all of them just to make sure they have a really strong bond. Alright, I'm happy with that. Now I'm just going to do a tad bit on the inside here. just enough to expose some of that PETG surface there. I'm happy with that. I could already see that it's changing color. It's getting more of a matte finish rather. And finally, we'll just do this last part here. That is looking good. Now, once we have this set in, we do need to have some things that sit on it and weigh it down. And for that, I'm just going to use a couple of filament boxes. And they do have filament inside, just to just to clarify. But let's get this epoxy cap off of here. I'm glad I wore gloves. And we're just going to get this mixed up here. All right. And I'm just going in with a piece of filament, PETG. You could use wood, but I had some extra filament laying around, little dowels. Just using that to spread it around. And time to get this in place. All right. That's set in place. I'm going to do the same for this side. I might have put too much on this side here. Let's see if it leaks through. I think that's fine. Likewise, let's do the same for this. All right, now this is ready to go. Very nice. And last but not least, I'm going to squeeze some in here. Okay. And as you can see, I'm just kind of mixing these up. All right. I think this is ready to go. I'm really glad I made these connecting points so I know exactly where to put it. Now I got some of that fresh filament. Just going to pop it on. Let's see if I could just put it like that. There you have it. Very nice. So I'm going to let this set for a little bit. And once it's done, we'll come back and continue the rest. Oh, and by the way, the cap for it's right there. And there's a little notched end here. And there's a little slit for that notched end. And you just cover it like that. There you go. Very nice. Alright guys, so I just happened to notice that we didn't clean off some of these supports. So we're going to do that now. And also, I'm missing one of these legs. So there should be one more of these. So I'm printing that out on the printer behind us on printer number 2. And in the meantime, we can kind of put the rest of it together. So I'm going to first clean off these supports. So you see there's this part for the center part to fit in. And we have another one here. Or was it this one? It was actually this one. So it is kind of hard to see in the beginning. So just make sure you choose the right one. And there you go. Came right out. Very nice. And likewise, we have this part for the hexagonal bar. Very nice. And this one as well. Boy, this one is almost non-existent, or it doesn't look visible, but it's there. All right, there you have it. So these are officially ready to be put together. Let's give the hexagonal bar a try. Oh yeah, that fits perfectly, and it comes in and out as needed. If we need to, we can always do an epoxy on this as well, epoxy adhesive, so it sticks really well. But we'll see if we need to do that a little later. In the meantime, we're going to put together our legs using these dowels. And as you remember, I put a little marker there for where each dowel stops. Now there's a longer side and a shorter side, and the longer side is actually going to be pointing up and the shorter side is down. So we're going to actually grab the top bar, and that's the depth that's going to go into the top bar. And like we did before, we're going to gently use a hammer to get this dowel in. And I'm going to know it's fully in once it reaches that line. Alright, we just about reached it, if you can tell there. I feel like it's reached it all the way through. And now, I know that these legs with the hole for the hexagonal bar require the hole down here. So, I'm just going to go ahead and stick that through now. And likewise, we're just going to stick it in and push it through. Wow, that actually worked really well. We have a little bit of a gap, so I'm going to try to use a hammer up top here to kind of close in that hole. So not only did I use the hammer, but I kind of banged this part up against the floor like that. And it seems like that's as far as it's wanting to go. And I'd say that leg is done. Alright guys, so likewise we're going to do the same with the other legs. However, we're going to do the other side now that doesn't have the hexagonal hole and that center bar hole there. We're just going to grab another dowel that we've 3D printed. And remember, the long side goes up. Now we're just going to again hit it until we reach that line there. It seems like this dowel is just a tad bit too long. I might have to update that in the model. And then we're just going to stick this through. Alright, I feel like that could just go in by hand. Alright, so it looks like I got it as far as I can. All of them are going to have a little bit of a gap like that. Seems like the dowel was just a little bit too long, ever so slightly. But that's okay. But the funny thing is we didn't have that issue before, but we're having it now, especially with the prototypes. We didn't have that issue, so don't know why this is happening this time around. Yeah, it looks like that's as far as that's gonna go. I'm kind of curious to give a try of cutting these dowels down a little bit and see if maybe that was the issue. And I think I'm just gonna test it out and see if that is the issue. So I'm gonna grab these snippers here, cut off a little bit, and see if that will just fix the issue. So I cut off just as much as I saw that was kind of leaving a gap. And now let's stick the long end into the top. Yeah, that actually went right through, so this should close up just fine. Oh yeah, that closed up perfectly. Very nice. So it looks like you could just pop it out. It's pretty easy. Unfortunately, I could only cut the short end now, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut the short end. I do have to update the model now, but nonetheless, I'm glad we are doing this first prototype to see how everything fits together and works. All right, I'm gonna stick that through. Oh yeah, now they're touching. That's looking great. On the back, you can't even tell that it's two pieces. Guys, I'm glad I figured that out. So I went ahead and fixed all three there, and the gaps have closed nicely. We got 3 legs and 1/2 waiting for it to be printed out. But nonetheless, I can go ahead and adjust this dowel too now. All right. That should work. And remember, we've got the long end that goes up top. All right, we made it through. Very nice. So all we're waiting for now is just the bottom piece for this, and we can move on to the other parts. As you can tell, this goes here. I can't wait to put all this stuff together. It's gonna be so much fun. And this hexagonal bar goes right here. We're nearly there, guys. So until we have this finished up, we're pretty much on pause, but we're on a good roll here. I think this epoxy is done. Yes, there is a little bit of a leak into the edges, but I think that's fine. But nonetheless, we can't, again, do a whole lot until we finish this print here. But guys, I'll tell you what, this thing looks really cool. I wouldn't mind using this myself. We have that little storage compartment. How about this fatter pen? A couple of pins. Yeah, we could totally fit it in there. That's really cool. And how's about your phone? I'd imagine that'd work perfectly. All right, guys. Well, nonetheless, I'll see you in a moment. For you, it'd just be a cut, and next thing you know, we're ready for the next part. But it's going to be about 6 hours from now for me. With that being said, I'll see you in the next scene. All right, guys. It is now 4:45 p.m. and it is 105 degrees Fahrenheit in the 3D printer room. It didn't quite reach 111, and it's 20% humidity in here. This tiny 3D print room is officially a filament dryer room. But nonetheless, this finished up, so let's continue the build. Oh, and this needs a lubrication. I don't blame it at 105 degrees, or 101.5 rather. I'm gonna do that later. Just gonna turn it off, give these guys a break, and get this stealth TV tray finished up. Looks great. All right, guys, much like the other legs, I just have to take out the tree supports, so I'm gonna go ahead and quickly do that. All right, guys, so I got that emptied out, and I'm just gonna pop this through. Just like that. All right, we've got all of our 4 legs ready to go, and I'm ready to assemble this thing. We may have to do some epoxy adhesive to some other parts, but this heat and that time gave this a lot of time to really bond. So these bottom 4 parts are stuck on there very nicely. So first things first is we're gonna grab this piece here and figure out which side this goes on. So you can tell because there's a straight side and a curved side, and likewise you can see over here there's a straight side and a curved side. So we just want to match that up. Very cool. Let me get the other side here. Got to move some of this stuff. Very cool. We got that in, and we may have to do epoxy to this. We'll see. And we got that part in. Okay, yeah, this is kind of wobbly, so I may have to do epoxy there. And before I stick any of this together with epoxy, I do want to just put it together and see where we're at with it all. I'm assuming it would be wise to put all the screws in and get everything sorted out that way. So we got our long screw here, a washer, and a screw cap. As a matter of fact, I do want to flip this around, and I'm working with very limited space here. So I want to try to flip this around carefully. I may have to just disassemble it. Yeah. The part that has this hexagonal bar are the inner legs, and the parts that don't have it are the outer legs. So just wanted to show you guys that. And we get a screw as well as a washer. Let's actually stick the screw and the washer in like that. And we could stick it in onto the side over here. Very cool. And to my surprise, the screw is not poking its head out. which is very strange. In 3D file it did. That is very odd. So, looks like we're going to have to print out another screw. Alright guys, so we got this 2-part epoxy again. I'm just going to start mixing it in here. I think that is more than enough. Alright, and I got a couple of mixing things here. I'm going to use this one of these screws from the previous batch. There you go. And this seems really loose, so I do want to get epoxy on here. So let's get that nice and ready. Alright, that's plenty there. And I'm just going to stick that in. Okay, that's looking good. I do want to add some epoxy to this right here to make sure it's securely in there. So let me just add a little bit here. I always say add a little bit. It turns out to be a lot more than a little bit. And let's give that a nice mix. And this stuff sets uber fast. So let me dip this side in. Let me dip this side in. And pop that in there. Very nice. Now I feel comfortable that both of these have epoxy in them and they're going to be holding up very well. But nonetheless, we got to jump in the computer, fix those screws, get them printed out, and I'll see you in the computer. Alright guys, so I jumped into Maya and Bambu Studio, and there were several things wrong with the screws, and I didn't really catch that. One of the issues was, and we found that out because of having printed it out and trying to use it, was the screws were too short. So I lengthened these screws significantly, as well as the screw caps, so they have a lot of room to sit in, and that way I won't have to go through what I just went through. And these were actually too long. They were about this much too long, so from here all the way up to here. So I fixed that, and we're just gonna throw this on the SD card for the A1 and get this printed out, and let's finish up that Stealth TV tray. Alright guys, it is 7:25 p.m. and these are finally ready. By the way, it is still 108 degrees Fahrenheit with 19% humidity in the 3D printer room. I kid you not guys, it is hot. But nonetheless, I'm going to take these off and let's finish off that Stealth tray. Alright guys, let's get this Stealth TV tray wrapped up today. These holes should be lined up. We're going to stick a screw in through there. We're going to put a washer. Then through this here. And something I didn't take into account when making the screws extra long is it's going to be hitting, but nonetheless, let's see where this takes us. Alright guys, so if I'm not mistaken, this is how we have to have it set up. This fancy part goes on this way, while the slot is on the front here. So that's how it should be set up. And we're going to go ahead now and give this a try. And we're going to fill these up with epoxy now, because we want it to be really strong. Boy, this thing's already setting. This is quick. So I'm going to get some on this tip here and just pop some in there. Okay, and stick that on. That should have set by now. There you have it. I'm just going to hold that for a second. And we're going to have the makings of a Stealth TV tray. And I think that this is probably going to be a first prototype until we get that final design ready. Well guys, I must say, this is looking real sweet. We're still waiting for the epoxy to fully dry, but it is seriously coming along. And I have one more thing I need to put in, which are these here. But I still am waiting for these to continue to set. And until that's had a little bit of time to kind of settle in, I'm going to wait to put those on. Alright guys, here's a side-by-side comparison of the Stealth TV tray versus a regular wooden TV tray. And that is looking real cool. As you can tell, we got a little bit of a short distance from there to there, but the width is the same, and also the height. Seems like the Stealth TV tray is just a slight bit higher, and Stealth TV tray also has a real cool drawer. Not only that, you got a place for your phone to hang out, to just watch, and maybe your iPad. I honestly would love this in wood, but I don't know how well it'll hold up. I'm wondering how much weight this will be able to carry. Maybe your hand to write on, but boy oh boy, it's wobbly. Well, this one's wobbly too, so I guess that's fair. What do you guys think? Do you think that this would be able to be CNC'd with corners like this? Or not corners, but like this kind of design? Would a CNC machine be able to do that? And as a matter of fact, I went with this kind of drawer style because I saw that CNC machine can do something like this. So I wanted it available to be able to be CNC'd if I ever wanted it to. The biggest issue is that there's no way to close this thing. Because of these screw caps, when it comes here, it gets stuck and I can't fold the legs. And as I was rotating it over, the screw broke just like I suspected it would, and this is not holding. So would I recommend a fully 3D printed piece of furniture like this with moving parts, and instead of using screws, 3D printed screws? No. I kind of ran my test and I'm happy with saying that no, it's not something you want to do. By the way, if you take a look here, these are flat. That's one of the reasons why this thing can close and fold. But what's the final verdict? Definitely no. Do not 3D print. Do not 3D print a fully 3D printed piece of furniture. I'm kind of curious though, if maybe we could try metal screws and if it will still hold up. And if we do try metal screws and it does hold up, the next thing I'd like to try is a weight test. Try to fill up the table with as much weight as possible until the legs break. That would be an interesting test to run on this. But nonetheless, I've been sweating up a storm in this room at 98.4 degrees Fahrenheit. It is now 23% humidity. I can say that I ran that test and now I know, because I was always curious about that. But nonetheless, what if one day we do make a wooden version of that? That'd be pretty cool. All right, guys, it is the next day. It is September 6th, 2024. At 7:53 a.m. and I got it to work. There are a couple of things that I changed around, but first of all, I do want to cover that I printed out a geometric pen cup. Well, I guess you could also call this stealth because it has that geometric look. But I printed one out after yesterday's drop and just wanted to make sure everything was good with the number 5 Bambu Lab A1 with the MS Lite combo. And yeah, it is. It's looking great. It's printed out in PETG. And man, oh man. If you guys are interested, by the way, this is on my Maker World for free. And I got this thing to work. So what was the issue yesterday? One thing was that the screws did not hold up. So I ended up using machine screws and a nut to hold these in place. And likewise, the same thing happened to the bottom there. All the screws weren't holding up. So the answer is no 3D printed screws, but we're still on this journey. So I ended up using these machine screws. Now, to be able to make this thing close like this, to have it fold down like that, I had to screw it in the opposite way. So the Phillips head is right there and the nut comes out on this side so that there's enough room. Likewise, there's supposed to be a washer here and on the other side too, but I didn't put that in to make room for that. Now in the 3D model, I could go in and fix it up and we could account for these things in 3D. And I would say that this is a successful prototype number 1. I also did use self-tapping wood screws for these parts here because it just wasn't gonna work again with the 3D printed screws. And it's working great. It's a little dirty from the floor, but oh, and there you go. I got a couple of pens in there, little card reader. Very nice. And by the way, I used these screws from Harbor Freight as the wood screws, and I used this one here. It's number 8 by 3.4 L, just so you guys know. I really like the gold accent on the black, by the way. And for the machine screws, I bought this from Harbor Freight a while back, and this is what we used for the rotary tool clamp. And I just used 4 of these long number 10 24 by 2, this here. I'm pretty sure it's going to require some Loctite so the screws, the bolts don't get loosened up. But you saw yesterday, compared to the regular TV tray, it's slightly taller. It's just as wide, just a little narrower. But the big question is, can this thing be used in a day-to-day life? And I'd say no way. I would not use this, period. For a prototype, I think it's great. Hence why FDM is known for rapid prototyping, because check it out. We were able to get this printed out in a day or two, and it works. Now, what do I want to do with this thing? I do want to do a weight test on it, meaning I'm going to put so much weight on top of it in a measured way until the legs break or something breaks. I want to know its capability for weight bearing. So what does this have the potential for? You can put your phone on there. This is a little makeshift phone. You can watch things as you, say, eat some food. Let's say you want some bigger entertainment. This is too small. Let's throw that over to the side. You can get your iPad on there. That's cool. You could just sit there, watch your iPad, have your phone, eat, drink your, let's call it lemonade. But not only that, you want to do some journaling. It's been a long, hard day like yesterday night. And you just want to get to some journaling, which I certainly did. At the very end of the day, it was about midnight, I journaled. You can certainly journal. You have enough room for this bigger size notebook. You certainly have room for this bigger size journal. You could just pop that on the side and open it up and begin journaling. But let's say you got homework and you got your big old laptop. It fits right on there. You can just get to typing on it. So this is all the potential uses for this thing. But before we can even see whether or not we could do something like that, we have to see how much weight it can bear. I'm gonna put as much weight as I can on it and record how much weight it can carry. But nonetheless, let's get this going. By the way, I almost forgot to weigh it out. I want to see what the total weight of this thing is compared to the other desk. I did take out the pens and whatnot out of there. So that's cleanly on there at a grand total of 4 pounds, 8 ounces. Wow, that is pretty cool. 4 pounds, 8 ounces. Let's take it off and do it one more time. Yep, pretty close. 4 pounds. Yep, 8 ounces. There you have it. Very cool. Let's see how heavy the wooden one is. All right, here's the wooden one. Let me try to do this with one hand. There you go. 6 pounds, 11.6 ounces. One more time. Yep, 6 pounds, 11.6 ounces. So you got something that's over 2 pounds lighter right there. So that's also convenient. But nonetheless, let's get that weight test going. I wish I had this for a longer period of time, but I could always print out another one. That's the great thing about 3D printing. All right, guys. So we're out here, and I got some weights here. I got 10 pounds, another 10 pounds, which equals 20. And we got 3 times 4. So that's 12. 12 plus 20, 32. So we got 32 pounds of weight over here that we're going to slowly put onto here. Now I'm going to try to do this in a controlled and balanced way. So I'm going to start out with 3 pounds just in the center. Okay, so that's 3 pounds on there. Now I'm going to do 3 pounds on both sides. One there, one there. That's 6 pounds. All right, 6 pounds is on there. Let's throw another 3 pounds on there in the center. That's 9 pounds. All right, it's holding 9 pounds. Now let's do 12 pounds. Okay. Wow. I can't believe it's actually holding this much weight. 12 pounds. All right. I got 10 pounds here, so that's a big adjustment there. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these off and load 10 pounds on one side and 10 pounds on the other side, and I'm going to walk away as soon as I can. All right. It went from 12 pounds to 20 pounds, an 8-pound increase. It's holding 20 pounds just fine. Now I'm going to slowly add on these 3 pounds, one in the middle, 23 pounds. Okay. That's 26 pounds. I heard some crickling and crackling. How about 29 pounds? Oh yeah, I'm starting to hear it crickle and crackle, and it's wobbling on its own. All right, now going up to 32 pounds. I'm super surprised, folks. It is holding 32 pounds right now. Wow, I really didn't think it would even hold 32 pounds. Do I dare add more weight? I know I have more weight somewhere. I gotta dig it up. As you could tell, my weights are super clean. They're hidden away. Why don't I go find more weights and add them on here? And I'm just going to leave these on here, see how long it can hold up 32 pounds. I am really, really surprised in a good way. All right, I'll be right back. All right, guys, and I went and found 2 more 10-pound weights. So I'm going to take these 3-pounders off. Let's jump it up to 40. Oh, brother. I'm stepping away quick. That's 40 pounds right there. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Do I dare increase? I know that it's holding up this much weight without any forces applied, you know, to the left or to the right. It's just a down force. So that's always something to keep in mind. But I said I would break this thing, so 43, and let's go 46. Oh my goodness. I'll be so surprised if it could carry all the weights that I have, which is pretty much 6 more pounds. 49. Wow. And 52. Oh my goodness. All right, guys, that's 52 pounds of weight. And if this just continues to stay as is, I'm one happy camper, because that means I don't have to print out another one. And this is where my test stops, 52 pounds. Wow. Am I the only one that's surprised here? Because who would have thought PETG 3D printed table with only metal screws would hold up 52 pounds? And the next thing you know, it breaks. But no, it's holding up. Strong little table this is. Well, this wraps up the weight test. I'm just going to take the weights off and I'll see you in the 3D printer room. That was a success. All right, guys, well, there you have it. We have the almost fully 3D printed in black PETG Stealth TV tray. And the only things that are not 3D printed are the screws. Those are actual screws because you saw what happened. This thing held up 52 pounds and I probably could have added more weight if I had some, but now we know this thing can hold up to 52 pounds without any forces applied from the left, right, front, or back. Just downward force. And I am super surprised. It held up to 52 pounds, guys. This thing weighs 4 pounds, 8 ounces. I got to make some adjustments on it, and I can make it available on Make a World if you guys are interested. As a matter of fact, if you guys are interested, let me know in the comments. And more importantly, are you guys interested if I were to make this in wood or MDF? Would you guys be interested in getting one? Please let me know in the comments. But nonetheless, guys, that about wraps it up for today's video. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, peace, love, and joy.